Peggy Wensman. Peggy Wensman, formerly in banking and financial services, and I've been a member of this club for 21 years.
Chris.
My name is Chris SIPhx. I think I've been here probably about 10 years. It's been a while. And I've done a bunch of things. I used to be an air traffic controller till I decided to make a bad career decision. And I was a teacher and I was an administrative help. So bookkeeper, whatever.
And my partner in crime, Maria.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Maria Mathis. I'm the Chief Deputy Clerk at the Bankruptcy Court. I don't remember how long I've been here. I don't think I remember my kids' birthdays at this point in time. So I apologize. And I apologize, Liz, too. I have to grab my lunch. I'm in between meetings. So if I put my screen on dark, I'm here. I'm probably just eating it. I don't need anybody to see any of that mess. Yeah, like Margie. But Margie, you look cuter when you do it.
This is nice. It's a lunch and learn. Diane, for those who didn't get to meet you last week, share a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am a retired senior manager from a high-risk commercial insurance company. I spent 36 years there and retired 4 years ago. I do a lot of volunteer work now in the Valley, and I'm really impressed with the longevity you have with your club. That's impressive.
It's just the beginning, Diane. Get ready.
Hang on tight, huh?
I know. Okay, Lori, over to you for your introduction.
So I'm Lori Reed. I am currently unretired, working on the Valleywise Replacement Hospital project. I'm managing the move out of the old building and into the new building. And I've been a member for 34 years. So I would like to introduce our speaker today, Liz Glowka. Liz currently serves as our governor-elect for the Golden West region for Soroptimist International of the Americas. And she's a longtime member of SI Palm Springs, and someone that I would like to call a dear friend. She is going to speak with us today about the UN and how Soroptimist interfaces with the United Nations. But before we start, Liz and Diane, what we've been doing this year is before each speaker, we've been taking a couple minutes and focusing on one member or two members. Today, we're just going to do one, and we're going to just kind of get to know her a little bit better. So I'm going to, let's see, I was going to share my screen. And let's see. Today, ta-da, we are going to be talking or getting to know Frankie James. So these are some, we've asked, what I do is I ask everybody to send me a couple, 3 or 4 pictures and maybe 3 or 4 words that describe you. But Frankie didn't give me any words, so I made them up. So I think these pictures are fantastic, Frankie. And is that one picture on the bottom left with you and Kim Windsor?
Yes, it is.
Tell us about that.
This was at a Christmas party, and Kim and I, and this probably happened, I don't know, 25 plus years ago. And we were at a Christmas party, so we took that picture. The picture above that was taken in I want to say 87. That's Randy Baca that's sitting to my right, and some other Soroptimists. We were at a meeting in Apache Junction. And then there's a picture of me when I was younger, starting out my professional life. And the picture in the top right is a raised garden bed that I built myself with a drip system, and I raise collard greens and mustard greens and everything. So I do that. I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years. That's me.
Awesome. So anybody have any questions for Frankie? So
Frankie,
I'm
I want
going
to know how your garden is so perfect. Where's the weeds?
It's a raised garden, and when I built it, I used something called horticulture. So weeds don't really come in, and when they do come in, it's only a few, and I can just pull them up. My younger sister and I work this garden, so I'm the technician in terms of getting everything set up, and she helps me out with watering and stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I like the picture of you and Kim. Haven't seen Kim in a while. I think the last time we were at Sip and Savor drinking wine, but that's a good picture of the two of you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to our topic du jour, which is Soroptimist and the UN. And I'm going to turn it over to Liz, and I'm trying to share my screen again because she's got a beautiful PowerPoint presentation and I can't seem to find it. Where is it? Give me a second. Sorry, people. I had it queued up and now I'm
And it
there. It is.
disappeared.
I got it. Had too many PowerPoints open. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, can you make it bigger? Like,
I'm going. Yeah, I'm
Oh.
going to try. Hold on. Why isn't it?
Slideshow.
Yeah, my problem is that the Zoom controls are covering up. There we
Oh.
go. There we go. How's that?
voila.
Got it.
Well, I am very happy to be with you guys today. Yes, Lori and I are good friends, and I'm Margie's mini-me. It's like we're together. I'm gonna talk to you today about you as a Soroptimist, starting as you as a member and recognizing your international presence. I always like to start my presentations with inspirations relevant to the subject being spoken about. This is one from my favorite poets, Rupi Kaur. I stand on the sacrifices of 1,000,000 women before me. In reflection, it makes me think about what I can do to make this mountain taller so the women after me can see further. I will start today with that single woman standing on the mountain, the me, a single Soroptimist member. By the end of this presentation, you will see how the me fits into the global part of Soroptimist International. We can change there. The me, a unique member. Each of us joins with other individuals to create a club. We all have our own reasons for joining. It may be that your good friend invited you to attend a meeting and you were intrigued by the social aspect. For others, there may have been a desire to do service within the community, or perhaps it was just the right time in your life to give back. Whatever the reason, we can make a tremendous impact within our community when we join forces at the club level. Each club belongs to a district. The districts belong to regions. There are 28 regions throughout the Americas and the Pacific Rim. All clubs within each district come together each fall for district meetings. Every spring, the regions hold a spring conference.
Sorry, computer's not Cooperating.
The next one. Oh, yeah, that one. That one's good.
Okay.
Soroptimist International of the Americas is called a federation. As previously said, SIA is comprised of 28 regions.
I'm sorry. It's just not, it's not cooperating with me. Give
Are
me
we
a
on
sec.
5?
We should be.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, that looks like it should be 5.
Okay.
SIA is one of 5 federations throughout the world. Soroptimist International of the Americas, of Great Britain and Ireland, Soroptimist International of Europe, of the Southeast Asia Pacific, and our newest federation, Soroptimist International of Africa. This chart summarizes how the me rolls into the worldwide structure. To reiterate, members form clubs, clubs form districts, districts form regions, sometimes called unions or national associations. Regions form federations, and federations form the greatest international organization to which we all have the honor to belong. This particular slide doesn't have our 5th federation on it, but it is certainly one of ours. This brings us to the question, what does Soroptimist International do? We are all a part of it, but it seems so distant. It is not. Everything that you and your club do rolls into SI. When many first join a Soroptimist club, it is enough for them to concentrate on the things their own clubs do. This keeps some busy enough. When exposed to fall meetings and spring conferences, they learn there is much more to Soroptimist. Understanding where you fit into the whole is not as clear. If you are fortunate to become involved with activities at the SIA Biennial Convention and the quadrennial SI conventions, you will address people working towards the same goals as you, as an individual, are working for. On a grand level, SI promotes international advocacy for women and girls' human rights and equality. Women and girls comprise half of the world's population, yet they are consistently discriminated against, and their human rights are often ignored. At the heart of this advocacy is their work across 7 United Nations centers, in which 21 representatives, all Soroptimist members, ensure that the voices of women and girls worldwide are included in international decision-making. UN representatives can advocate effectively for women and girls because of the work you and your clubs report. When you think that the requested reporting submitted to the region and SIA is troublesome, and it often is, this is how our representatives advocate from the grassroots up through the world. Another important part of SI's work is the President's Appeal. The appeal began as a way for the current SI president to raise funds for a specific project. The latest appeal by SI President Maureen McGuire, now she's recently past president, is called Opening Doors to a Bright Future, with the specific aim of delivering tangible benefits to some of the world's most marginalized women, girls, communities through education. The appeal is currently leading on projects in Cambodia, Uganda, Georgia, Trinidad and Tobago, and Paraguay. As you can see, the appeal works with women and girls through projects in the 5 federations. There has been a recent change with the formation of an SI foundation that provides enhanced charitable opportunities for SI. There's no longer a president's appeal. Any funds that are in the bank for the appeal will remain designated for the projects that were named. And that's a whole other presentation. Okay. Another important work of SI is involvement in the Commission of the Status of Women, established by the UN in 1946. It is the principal global intergovernmental body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women. Key words there are global and intergovernmental. CSW is a unique opportunity for representatives of UN member states, civil society organizations, and UN entities to all come together to promote and document emerging issues that affect gender equality and women's empowerment. The current SI International President leads a Soroptimist delegation each year at CSW, New York. The 67th session of CSW took place in New York City earlier this year. I was honored to be a delegate to the event. Each year I am part of the CSW attendance. It is a grand and often bittersweet experience. I am looking forward to the 68th session next March. Now I'll speak of the involvement of Soroptimists at the UN and how they reach out and enable women and girls in over 190 countries. Human rights are critical to the vision and mission of every Soroptimist globally. No country is free from human rights violations. Respect and tolerance for every human being must be achieved in our communities and countries. This was a quote by a past international president, Anne Garvey. As Soroptimist members, we have the unique opportunity to participate in advocating for women at an international level. In 1946, a reception for delegates to UN conferences, which included Eleanor Roosevelt, was held. Since that time, we have been an instrumental part of the Commission on the Status of Women. The CSW is an intergovernmental body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality. It was established, like I said, in 1946 and reports to ECOSOC. The yearly session occurs the first 2 weeks of March, and I'll explain ECOSOC. SI is granted general consultative status with ECOSOC. This is the highest status a non-government organization called an NGO can receive. Currently, 4,560 NGOs have ECOSOC consultative status, but only 144 have general status. Many of you have heard that SI has consultative status at the UN. What exactly does that mean? In 1945, a limited number, 41, of NGOs were granted consultative status by ECOSOC. This opened the door by providing suitable arrangements for consulting with NGOs. There are strict eligibility requirements and responsibilities for being granted consultative status. There are 3 types of status: general, special, and roster. SI has the highest status of general, meaning we can attend international conferences and events, make written and oral statements, organize side events, enter the UN premises, and have opportunities to advocate, network, and lobby. I keep mentioning ECOSOC, so what is it? ECOSOC stands for Economic and Social Council and is one of 6 organs of the UN that reports to the General Assembly. The Commission on the Status of Women falls under their jurisdiction. The General Assembly comprises all 193 member states and each has a vote. It is in the General Assembly that all UN resolutions, except for Security Council resolutions and policies on questions of global importance, are reviewed and ratified. So what is the Commission on the Status of Women? CSW is exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality. Each year, representatives of UN member states, civil society organizations, NGOs, and UN entities gather. Lately, we have seen an increase in private society attendees. Private society consists of corporate and private industries. CSW agrees on further actions and outcomes needed in the form of a document. It's called the Agreed Conclusions. Recommendations are then forwarded to ECOSOC for follow-up and to be presented to the General Assembly. When the United Nations was founded in 1945, the cause of universal human rights was enshrined in its charter. A year later, the body created the Commission on the Status of Women to address women's issues and discrimination. In 1963, the UN asked CSW to prepare a declaration to consolidate all international standards regarding equal rights between the sexes. In 1967, CSW produced a declaration on the elimination of discrimination against women. The elimination of all forms of discrimination against women is an international treaty. However, the UN General Assembly did not adopt it till 1979. It is described as an international Bill of Rights for women and focuses on three key areas: civil rights, which includes voting, holding public office, and non-discrimination in education; reproductive rights, which includes fully shared responsibility of child rearing by both sexes, the rights of maternity protection and childcare facilities, and maternity leave; and gender relations. This includes modifying social and cultural patterns to eliminate gender prejudices and biases in textbooks, school programs, and teaching. And it addresses modes of behavior and thought that define the public realm as a man's world and the home as a woman's. Countries that ratify the agreement are expected to work towards implementing the convention's provisions and must report their progress to CEDAW. That's the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination, for review and further recommendations. One of the many problems with this is accountability. How do you hold the member states accountable? It is important to know that 189 of the 193 UN member states have ratified this document. Even some countries with reservations have signed. Most with reservations are in the Middle East. The member states that have failed to ratify CEDAW are Iran, Somalia, Sudan, and the United States. What you say? Starting in 1979, President Jimmy Carter signed the treaty and sent it to the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee. This committee was charged with ratifying treaties and international agreements. They have failed to ratify this treaty. CEDAW has been debated 5 times since 1980 and blocked each time. In all instances, opposition to CEDAW has come primarily from conservative politicians and religious leaders. They argue that the treaty is unnecessary and at worst subjects the US to the whims of an international agency. Other reasons include the argument that other rules on reproductive rights and enforcement of gender neutrality are sufficient. Have I confused you yet? Well, if not, I'll keep trying. After years of negotiations between the member states, women's groups, and civil society, in 2010, the General Assembly voted to create UN Women as the Secretariat for all Commission on the Status of Women organization activities. UN Women supports all aspects of the Commission's work, as well as the participation of civil society representatives. Other than New York, SIUN representatives work across 6 UN centers: Geneva, Vienna, Paris, Rome, and Nairobi. All SI advocacy work is based on human rights principles and supported by the SI Club projects. Information is shared both up and down. Therefore, the reps are also responsible for keeping SI up to date and remaining on top of any current or emerging issues. As a member of Soroptimist International, you are part of this tremendous task. This slide may sound overly dramatic, but it is not. How does CSW work? They adopt multi-year programs of work to apprise progress and make further recommendations to accelerate the implementation of the platform for action. These recommendations take the form of negotiated agreed conclusions on a primary theme. Each year, CSW has a priority theme and a review theme. The priority theme addresses one of 17 Sustainable Development Goals agreed upon in 1995 to be achieved by 2030. CSW is greatly centered on number 5, gender equality, but aren't all SDGs truly feeding into number 5? The review theme is to follow up on the progress of prior priority themes. This year's CSW 67's priority theme was innovation and technological change and education in the digital age for achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. The review theme was quantifying the agreed conclusions of the 62nd session, challenges and opportunities in achieving gender equality and the empowerment of rural women and girls. Much of Soroptimist's work is at a grassroots level. We mostly do community-based work that gives SI hands-on knowledge regarding what works in communities. Local club projects work on what truly helps to educate and empower women and girls so they experience the full range of human rights. It is important to keep your region and federation apprised of your findings and projects so they can feed the information to the proper channels. Please make sure you report on all your service projects. If some don't fit into the DREAM parameters, we also have the Accelerator program, which includes other projects. Please see the SIA website for details. How does CSW work? US Women, as I said, facilitates the conference. They establish priority and review themes and organize NGOs and civil society. It's kind of like a 3-ring circus. There are UN programs and events called side events. These are held on the UN grounds and given by UN member states and entities, sometimes with the participation of civil society. They also tend to be more political in nature. You need to be a UN delegate to attend these events. There are also parallel events that are organized by civil society and NGOs with or without consultative status. These are held outside the UN headquarters and can take place simultaneously in parallel as official sessions of CSW. UN member states and UN entities are sometimes co-organizers or co-sponsors of parallel events. They are coordinated through UN Women New York, addressing the primary and reviewing subjects based on their missions and objectives. Parallel events tend to be less political and address many social issues of the day. Most parallel events occur during the first week of the commission. The second week concentrates mainly on the agreed conclusions document to be presented to ECOSOC. The result of CSW is the agreed conclusions on the priority theme set for the year. Agreed conclusions contain an analysis of the priority theme and a set of concrete recommendations for governments, intergovernmental bodies, other institutions, and other relevant stakeholders to be implemented at the international, national, regional, and local levels. They also adopt several resolutions on a range of issues. This is a very grueling process and has been known to get very contentious with member states. As much as you would like, you can't do it all. There is too much going on at once and throughout the day. Pick events that are of special importance to you. Although streamlined quite a bit this year, the UN Women New York and SIA have wonderful receptions you don't want to miss. There are numerous opportunities to advocate at these events and others like them. Remember, you're in New York City and want to plan sightseeing and maybe a play. My mom used to say that your mind can only absorb what the butt can take. So enjoy yourself and start out fresh the next morning. Always have a backup plan. Often events are crowded or closed to those not registered. UN Women provides schedules of parallel and side events. Pay close attention to those that require registration. Don't be afraid to ask someone where something is or what they are about. In 2018, I met one of my favorite people sitting on a bench in the corridor at the UN. Catherine is from Kenya. She founded and currently runs a school and housing for homeless children, mostly girls, and AIDS widows. She has recently been elected to Parliament as a county women's representative. She is an angel and has become a child of my heart over the years. We remain in close contact, and together we have achieved much for the school and the surrounding village. This point being, you're with women from all over the world, from different cultures and backgrounds. In the words of Mark Twain, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. The same is true after attendance at CSW. Don't be afraid to surround yourself with this opportunity and the people. It will change your life. In 2020, CSW was canceled. 21 and 22 were virtual only, and this year was the first ever hybrid event. The necessity of the changes and extreme visa restrictions created a much different convention than in past years. Normally, there are approximately 5,000 people at the UN. This year, there were far fewer in New York City. However, 30,000 to 40,000 people were reached worldwide. This is the double-edged sword that digital advances have created. On the negative side, there is an enormous amount of intimidation, harassment, and reprisals for cooperation with the UN in the context of CSW. Only 37% of women have access to the internet. For the remaining women, digital technology is forbidden, or they don't have the resources and/or the knowledge to stay competitive today. This doesn't just happen in other countries. It is a significant issue in all countries. And how do you provide internet access and digital training in countries like Kenya, where only 3% of rural areas have electricity? Also, women are often intimidated, harassed, and suffer severe reprisals throughout the digital world. I love this quote, "Instead of dolls, give girls a microscope," from Miss Bodan Martin. However, I've received suggestions that girls should be given dolls and microscopes. The bottom line is that girls should be offered what spurs their interests. This includes STEM. Ask me why I'm a Soroptimist. I am a Soroptimist because every day the organization provides me with the tools and support to work with women and girls in the community, state, country, federation, and the world. Some of us want to concentrate on our towns, and some focus on the world. Regardless of your interests, you can achieve your organizational goals with Soroptimist. Think about where your interests are and what you can do with the tools provided by Soroptimist and continue to make a difference. And at the end of the CSW experience, this is how you feel. You will also feel inspired, enlightened, and happy to have met so many new friends. Kermit and I are a lot alike. He wants to stop slurping his drink, but he does not. I must stop here, but I can go on UN talking for a long time. If you care to encourage me, here is my contact information. Reach out to me, please. All of this may seem intangible. You may wonder what you can do internationally as a Soroptimist member. You can read. The Golden Voice is the name of the SI newsletter. It is full of information about what SI is up to. The April issue had a summary of CSW, a webinar with a CSW roundup that you could watch, and recordings of 3 parallel events that were part of CSW. They can be accessed on the SI website and give you a great idea of those events. You can listen. SI Voices podcasts can be found on the SI YouTube channel called @Soroptimist Global. These podcasts welcome experts, renowned speakers, Soroptimists, and friends to take on many of the tough topics and challenges affecting the lives of women and girls today. You can download the podcast from any of the leading podcast apps. You can watch SI Voices webinars, which are hosted by SI. These webinars began in 2020 to recognize 100 years of our global organization and can be found on the SI website. Links to the most recent episodes of the podcast and the webinars can also be found in the newsletter. And lastly, read the SIA newsletter. In December, you will find information on how you can apply to be part of CSW. Takeaways. All members are connected to SI at the international level. SI has much influence internationally. Read the newsletters for the latest information. And as a Soroptimist member, you can make a difference locally and still be a part of international advocacy. Oh, there was a last one there, but that's okay. That's all right. It just had contact information. Denise Middleton is the SI liaison who helped me put part of this presentation together for the last spring conference. And she's full of information. I'm full of information. Governor Margie, Lori is full of information. We just all love to talk. So please feel free to reach out. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Excellent presentation, Liz.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I'm
Really
sure
excellent.
that there are members that have questions. I'll start. as you were describing how CSW is organized, you kept referring to civil society as if it were some kind of an organization. Is it an organization?
Civil society is corporations and entities. So it's interesting now we're getting more corporations. And that corporations are sometimes part of our moral compass. You know, they are getting much more involved in CSW because they realize the value. So they're called civil organizations. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs, are things like Soroptimist, Boys and Girls Club, Girl Factor, nonprofits.
So Diane posted in the chat, I'd like to hear about the reality of attendance you mentioned in attendance, highs and lows.
Yeah, I should probably clarify that. You mentioned that it was both exciting and also a little heartbreaking, and I was kind of interested in hearing about what your experience was, sir.
You see at the UN people from all over the world, third world countries. There are women there that don't have water, that are there asking for water. That's what my friend Catherine was doing there. Her village had no water. They didn't have a well. They had to walk to a polluted stream a few miles every day. You see people whose countries are at war, and they don't know if they have a home when they get back. And women that are extremely harassed for attending anything that has to do with women's rights. You realize while you're there, regardless of our problems, we are very fortunate where we are.
Who else has a question?
I sort of have a question, but I don't even know if I can phrase it correctly, Liz. You mentioned having attendees that come from essentially these war-torn countries, and we're seeing this being played out again right now, and it's a constant. What can we do on a local level when we feel, we see the destruction, we see the mothers, we see these women, we see these societies being destroyed? What can we do? I know when, everything happened in Ukraine, we all were giving and trying whatever we can just to at least feel like we were partaking. But right now, are there any conversations that are happening in light of the current crisis again?
I'm sure there are. SI will probably be putting out information papers. Until then, we have nothing organized. Everything's usually from a local level. I know Governor Margie and I were talking the other day that when it came to helping Maui, we kind of had to depend on our Maui club to tell us what it was we needed. So all we can really do is respond because we don't know what these people truly need. I'm sorry, Diane, you asked what some of the highs are. The highs are just amazing when you see the influence. The influence that Soroptimist International has, and what a big voice we really do have. When we sit in our clubs and we do great things for our communities, even our districts and our regions, when we get to an international level, we have teeth. And we are listened to and we are respected. So that's one of the biggest highs for me, to sit in the General Assembly and just say, wow, I'm really here. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that answered your question, Maria.
For me, it did. I think it's, I'm waiting to see, but again, it's a changing situation. So, politics aside, it's more, what can I do? What can I do as part of this organization of women?
As a human, yes.
Yeah, as a human
absolutely.
being, thank you.
Yes.
You know, I know we're not allowed in the United States to politic on anything because of our 501c3 status, but it occurs to me that we should be able to at least advocate for the CDA to be ratified here. Does SIA follow when that is brought up in the committee?
I don't have any definite information on that, but I would be very surprised if they didn't. Because that's a real thorn in their sides, you know?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, I've been a member 34 years. I've never seen anything pushed out to the clubs that says, hey, it's going to be at committee this week or next month or next year, contact your local representatives and let them know your opinion.
I think there are, if you join UN Women, and if you look at your international publications, they really encourage that. I know there are meetings, just organizations that work on CDA, and they tell you in your area who your representatives are and how to contact them. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot formally, but it doesn't normally filter to us, which is unfortunate.
So how do we join UN Women?
Go to their website, it's unwomen.org, I believe. It doesn't cost anything. You can join them for like $25 if you want to. It's considered a donation. They have meetings. I think they're every quarter, and they're all throughout the United States. I'm not sure if they're outside the United States, probably just United States. And you can be kept apprised of everything that's going on with the UN.
Very interesting.
Good. I love it. It's such a fascinating field, and it's like I said, you know that you're very fortunate with what you have, and we want to keep it because it can change in a nanosecond.
Oh yeah.
And Lori, to your point, asking why we as members don't hear a lot about that. You were in attendance at the last SI convention, and I believe, hearing from all of the UN work, that was the first time that we really got an update. So I know trying to make sure that we are staying informed, that's really what Denise is positioned, that liaison of trying to, okay, how do we get that information? And you can get inundated with information, but really trying to get a idea of what it is members would like to know, so that we can kind of plug ourselves in, so that we can have that conduit and get the membership informed. So, Liz and I have been strategizing for next year on, what else can we do, really getting jazzed after her presentation, the presentations at SI, and then the challenges that we've had with how to support Ukraine. What do we do with, what's happening? And, even how to help Maui, it's like, okay, how do we mobilize? How do we get this information out? So I think particularly to understanding for, kind of for the things Liz kind of shared, just trying to figure out how we plug ourselves in and then start, advocating and educating.
SI's sole purpose is advocacy. That's all they do, is advocacy. And so it's important that we work through them, and I find it extremely important that we keep apprised of what SI is doing and what they're advocating. They have several things on their website, which is soroptimistinternational.org. They have a members section, a Soroptimist section, which has position papers and current activities and what they're doing. If you're interested in an international view, check in on Soroptimist International every so often.
And sign up for their newsletter.
Yes.
You're paying dues.
Yeah.
Might as well get the
Yeah.
newsletter.
You might as well.
Lori, that might be a good idea for a future program meeting, is to go through some of our resources that we have as members, all of the sites, what's out there for those who don't take as much time to go peruse what's available to us.
That's good, because we may be doing that sooner rather than later, since my November speaker isn't getting back to me. So we might be doing that in November.
We
I think it's a
reach out,
great idea,
reach out
though.
to Pat Box, who has a presentation of just the Golden West Region website, and then she kind of shares others. So if you're in a pinch, Lori, you might want to tap Pat Box too.
I will do that.
Oh.
I will. Anybody have any other questions? This was fantastic, Liz. It was
Oh, thank you.
good, not good, great information for us, and very well done. Very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope it wasn't too lectury.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of information, and it's not simple. It's very complicated and has a long history. So thank you again for agreeing to come meet with us today. We always like to see your smiling face.
I appreciate it. I'm so happy you invited me. Margie and I are on our road trips for fall meetings, and I was happy that this fell in between Riverside and Payson.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to finish up. I'll give you all 2 minutes back to your day. And great to see everyone.
Yes, and just a reminder, the lunch next week that Lee was talking about. And then we have our next business meeting November 9th, program meeting November 16th. And our holiday party, I keep putting it out there because I know it's in December. Everybody's schedules get really crazy and wonky. It's December 21st, right in the center of Midtown, Phoenix, near the Heard Museum, free parking, great food. We haven't decided yet what it is, right, Lori? But it's going to be fabulous and delicious. And we always have a fantabulous time. There's never been a party that I've gone to for the holidays that has not been great. So December 21st, all those other dates are on our website. That's your first resource today, everybody. Our website, it's got all the dates there. Sorry, I just needed to throw that in there because I know everybody's got so much going on. And we need to put it on our calendars. Let's calendar. Let's calendar. That's it for me. Sorry.
All right. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Great
Hope to
weekend.
see you soon.
Thank you for
All
having
right.
me, everyone.
Bye, Diane.
Thanks
Diane.
for coming,
See you soon.
Diane.